Hi, welcome back to another video harmony piece. I do want to apologise. It has been a few days I've done a video. I wasn't well. Sore throat, cold, couldn't speak, throat squeaking, one back. So today's topic, I would like to mix up a little bit. I'll be talking about shadow part 2 and talking about the nervous system. But the next video I will talk about the nervous system to more great detail. I feel with the shadow on a day-to-day basis, we always feel we struggle to connect with ourselves, the parts we suppress, the parts that we don't want to acknowledge, where I feel it's very important because it gets us to understand us and a deeper connection, that deep where we know we can look at ourselves, reflection in our mirror, reflection on we see the world and what other people see in us, which is very important. By now, going back 2-3 years ago, probably longer, I struggled with myself and the other areas of my life where I suppressed and didn't want to acknowledge, and I just got along with things like things was normal. But as time did grow and time went on, I started to understand the shadow of myself, the counterparts that I suppressed, the parts that I feel that need to be resurfaced and to speak with my shadow. Because we do get triggered. We get triggered in things that we don't acknowledge or we don't know or wasn't aware of. And these are the things I want to explain and talk about from early age, from the age of 5 onwards, as you get older. And these things could come from your caregivers, what you've been taught and what you've seen, how to acknowledge yourself. But going into your nervous system, I feel like being positive is great, motivation is great, discipline is great, but if you don't regulate your own emotions or to understand how to regulate, because don't forget your emotions are stored physically, emotionally, where it will show up in your body. For example, you'll have back pains, you tense up, or you can't sleep at night, all these things which do occur. And also, when your nervous system is not regulated, this is the part where we make decisions by emotions instantly, where we don't check in and be present. Are we making it from the point of our emotions got the best of us? Are we making it on the right decision? There's times in the past where I felt I've made decisions by my emotions and not by being present, and I make wrong decisions. But over time, these things can change. For example, you can journal things down, but also with your nervous system, it's about breathing and connecting with nature. Also going out in the garden, putting your feet in the grass and be grounded. But breathing does help. Breathing exercise is very massive because it does regulate you and your nervous system, and you're in a calm state of mind when you're making right decisions. Because we sometimes come from a place where we make those decisions and we get emotional and we'll say the wrong things, and then that's it, it's over, it's done, and we just don't acknowledge that. But then you've got to acknowledge yourself. Have you made the right decision? Is it because you've been emotional, or have you made the right decision and you thought about it? And I know for a fact, and people out there, and I've done it, where we've been emotional and we've made the wrong decision. It's better about pausing, taking that time out to understand where we've gone wrong, or to pause and say, you know what, you're right, and take a breathe let it all out and start again. I believe in the nervous system, and to anyone out there, sympathetic, everything, because knowing to understand the nervous system, I've understand it more so than ever. I've not long passed my trauma-informed coach certificate, but also there's some other things I've learned more about. But because I've done breathwork and a breathwork instructor, I like to give myself time, and I say this to anyone out there, where you can take a moment to yourself and breathe. If it's half an hour before you go to bed or in the morning, give that moment of time to yourself to regulate yourself before you start the day or before you make a decision, whatever it is in your own life. Because if you do that on a regular basis, if you can hold it in for a couple of seconds and nobody will know, for example, I could do this and go and breathe out my nose. It does calm you down and relax your nervous system. You can hold it again. And breathe out your mouth. You'll see how much that does calm you down, like to relax the mind and the body. And then you know for a fact you're not making decisions from emotional point. You're making a decision being present, and you've managed to calm yourself down. But also you could also speak to friends, family and everything else. But going back to the shadow, always go back, reflect, go back to when you're younger, how you respond to your parents, and how do you respond to your friends. What parts of you get triggered? What parts of you that you feel that you want to release any stored up anger or any emotions? But it's good to talk to someone. Another thing what's very helpful, sound baths is really good. It releases the emotional charge out your system. Another thing what's very helpful, breath work. A full breathwork session does really help to release, and it helps to relax yourself for any thoughts, which is very powerful, I believe in. But another thing with the shadow as well, it's a part that can be released. It's a part that you can understand and to manage yourself in the right way, and knowing your trigger points, knowing the parts of areas where you know that you was afraid of. And I know for a fact when I was younger, there's parts of myself I was afraid to face the fear, face of neglect, face of not being loved, not being cared for, not knowing that Sean didn't exist. But then the more I start to understand, and also what helps is the podcast and the books, and to journal, to understand every part from when it all started, you will not get triggered in that way as much than you would be. But at least you understand how to manage it, and you have the tools. So if you feel that you're going to get triggered, yes, there's times where I feel I'd be upset, I'm going to cry, but then I know I can understand it's okay, it will pass, and let it go. And it's about talking to yourself as well, and the things that you want to need to know, to tell yourself on a day-to-day basis. Because one thing I believe is that when you do the shadow work and to relax your nervous system, it's about having a calm state of mind, and you make right decisions, not based on emotional, because these things can take over your body and you be emotional all the time like this, and you're not making decisions from the point of being present and being calm. This is what I want, this is what I want to do, and this is how I see my life. And these are the things you have to say to yourself. And it's about self-talk. It's about knowing what to say and stand to what you say. And the big thing is about the volume, the pitch of the voice, how you speak to yourself, and be assertive in saying it. But these things take time. It takes gradual baby steps to get into those stages where you need to be in your own life. I'm very grateful that I've managed to come back out and do a video, because I wasn't well. I would have done a couple more videos last week, but my throat was hurting me. I wasn't well. I said earlier on in the video, I do apologise. I've had some great news. Everything's rolling. Podcast is happening. I'm going to New York. That's happening. I've got a few speeches coming up as well. So there will be a newsletter across the board soon, probably another month or so. I've got other things in the pipeline as well, which I'm looking forward to, but I'm not going to say anything just yet. But going back to the whole shadow and the nervous system, they do connect together in a way as well, because to understand your shadow, to understand your nervous system, and if you can regulate yourself to breathwork exercise, going for walks, to journal, to even meditate as well, these things are very powerful. And if you do that on a regular basis, it will help to calm you and relax. So when you get into the point of, I'd say, for example, you get in an argument or something's happened